Folks, imagine trading for 5 days thinking, oh, damn it, I've just broken even, only to find out a few days later that you actually made almost 8% or 8R. That's exactly what happened to today's guest, Ali. We bring him back on 3 months after being on the show last. He's one of our dynamic trader beta testers. He's learnt the dynamic trading approach and is really making some massive headways here. And today you're going to find out what changed with his mindset to get over some of these hurdles that were holding him back now that he knows how to actually read price through the teachings of my mentor, JJ. So folks, we're going to get to see those 5 trading days as well. So every single trade on those days. And if you're wanting to improve your own trading, get these major breakthroughs, then there's something dropping in the show that you're going to want to know about. So please stay tuned, watch the whole thing. You're going to find out what that is. Right, let's dive in. Do you want to tell us sort of the things that you struggle with in the last few months to the point where you started seeing some good change?
So I think probably the first place to start was the information overload. I had a real struggle, but I almost didn't realize I was struggling with it. I had a lot of information that I'd learned, and I thought I had committed things to memory. I'd done loads of markups on the charts. I'd practiced things on the live charts, and it felt like I was, I had everything I needed, but I was really slow. And like I had a conversation with you guys at one point, and I was like, why can't I execute on some of these things? And having spoken to you guys, it was clearly just because I wasn't seeing them quick enough. And so that information overload was like I was trying to drive a fighter jet with the knowledge of being able to drive a car. And like when you first learn to drive a car, this is an analogy that JJ gave me. He said, you've got all these gears, you've got the steering, you've got the indicators, you've got your mirrors, and you can't just use them all at the same time. But after a while of driving, you realize you're changing gear and you're not even thinking about it. And so those things was like me driving the fighter jet, and which I'm still trying to drive, without, with all the information, but without the practice and the ability to execute on it. And so I think that only comes from repetition and time, which time is obviously a difficult one for me, but I'm starting to get the repetition, and things are now coming out at me. Rather than me having to like look and say, okay, am I seeing this? Am I seeing this? Am I seeing this? It's now like, it's just there for me. Not everything, obviously, but a lot of the information that I was struggling with on overload is now just appearing to me, which is kind of a breakthrough for me.
And we actually redid a lot of the program that Ali went through just to try and get him over that information overload, to make it sort of hit home. I mean, I feel like you're talking about a fighter jet. I'm literally kind of thinking, for me, it was more like a spaceship. The information overload was like exponential, and it does take a long time to just, as you said, make it feel just your subconscious takes over and you just execute and see it and go, okay, that's that. You don't even think about it. So that was number one. What about like your mindset? Did you have any mindset issues that sort of crept in there? Hey, start trading Forex indices and commodities with up to 800K of Blue Guardian's capital risk-free. Just pay a small one-time fee to take the challenge, hit a profit target and get funded. Then keep up to 90% of your profits and enjoy fast weekly payouts. Visit blueguardian.com or blueguardianfutures.com to start trading today and grab their limited time discount code.
Yeah, so I think I have had all the mindset issues that we all have, and the doubts about whether this is for me. Like can I do this? And like I have so much, I put so much time in and so much commitment. I'm not just talking about the last few months with you guys and the Dynamic Traders Club, but the last few years where I've been learning a lot of things towards trading. And when I had this overload, I suddenly realized, man, this is a lot. And it's always, I've always thought of it as something that needs to be treated as a profession. It's not just a hobby. If you really want to do this, it's not a hobby. You've got to actually become a professional at it. And I thought, do I really have what it takes to be able to learn all this? And I think it was a bit of a limiting belief. And I think the fear of having to dig deeper than I thought I needed to dig, I think it makes it makes people do things that are actually like damaging. So I think I have at times, it's things like revenge trading, and you do things that you sort of self sabotage, because it's almost easier to fail and get to that point where, oh, I think this is where I should give up, because actually it's much easier to give up than it is to push through brick walls at times. And so again, I've had a number of breakthroughs there, and I know there'll be another one. It might be today, it might be tomorrow, where I think I can't do this. But every time I hit one of those walls, the next day it's like, oh, I'm through that now. It's it's not actually an issue anymore. It was just a limiting belief.
It is such a. I hear you and I feel you, because I mean I've been there like many times. I mean, JJ, what are your sort of thoughts on these mindset related struggles that traders go through? And I really sort of hear what Ali's saying and understand it, because this is, I've been there many times.
Well, Ali he's just facing what every trader faces. Ali is trying to develop as a trader, and to develop as a trader, we need as individuals to develop, and that's a big misunderstanding within the industry. People think they can just grab a YouTube strategy, just jump on there. All you need to make 10 grand a week is this simple strategy. They go and try it, and they realize they can't make the strategy work. However, in the back test, it might work pretty well, but the trader can't make it work. Mm-hmm. And so all traders, everybody comes into this industry is faced with those hurdles, but very few people actually know they're going to be faced with these hurdles. They take the strategy, they can't make the strategy pay with any degree of consistency, if you like, and they throw their toys out of their cart, they get angry, all the emotions come into play. And the key to it is they don't understand why. Unless you can understand why, how can you do something about it? Ali is clearly beginning to understand, or he's well on his way to understand, that this is a journey of self-development. And as he's developing, so is his trading. And as long as Ali continues to develop, so will his trading. And at the pace he's going, unfortunately for Ali, it's only a couple of hours a day. I know by his recent improvements that he would be much further down the line today if he could, have committed, 8 hours a day. He would be 4 times further down the line. Without a shadow of a doubt, the guy is committed. He knows it's a challenge. And anybody that's trying to develop within, personally, everybody finds that as a challenge. So I have to take my hat off to Ali for the progress he's made.
Yeah. I mean, look, you've done well, and you've persevered through thick and thin. And folks, look, if you're sort of also looking for a breakthrough to get over hurdles, then we've got a webinar that's coming up. I've mentioned it before. It's the launch of the Dynamic Traders Club. If you want to check it out, it's well worth your while. If you're a novice, intermediate, doesn't matter what kind of trader you are, you're going to learn something here and possibly get a light bulb moment like I did after going through it. It's JJ, myself, and there's a link below the video, or find the link on the screen here. Chuck it in the browser and register, and that will be not too far away. So please jump on there. It's a fantastic presentation, and I guarantee that it's going to change the way you look at trading one way or another. Also, we're launching the Dynamic Traders Club fully there. So if you've been waiting, then the wait is no longer. You don't have to wait much longer. So folks, that's coming up. Back to you, Ali. Now, execution and I suppose executing flawlessly, were you able to do that, or did you have any issues with that?
Hey folks, what a view behind me. I'm at Black Bull Markets headquarters here in Auckland, New Zealand. Speaking of views, you can get TradingView paid plans for free at Black Bull Markets, and you can also get a 100% deposit bonus for your first deposit up to $1,000. All you need to do is click the Trading Nut link in the description below.
Absolutely not. I was not able to do that, and I think that's, this is still something I'm working on, and I think execution for me is something that requires like extreme focus, and I don't know if this is supposed to be the way it is, but for me, to be able to execute on the information that I've been taught, I need to be just so in the focus, like in the flow, like with the chart, and I cannot have any distractions. And I've realized that so many of my errors were just from distraction, like my dog coming in the door, my phone going off, like just all these little things that are micro distractions, but actually take me away from where I was. And then before I know it, I've missed a little something on an indicator, or I haven't drawn a line somewhere, and that's the reason why I then have a failed execution, or I miss a trade, or I have a loss or something. And so for me, the breakthrough was along with the previous issue of mindset challenges, limiting beliefs. I realized I need to really start taking it far more seriously. And like if I was going into work, into an office, and I was going to be a professional trader, I would be going in with that work mindset. So now when I come to my screen, I go in much less of a hobbyist mindset, much more a professional mindset. I don't turn my phone on until I've finished my trading for the day. I only turn on this laptop. I have a few little rituals, if you like I have a hot drink, just like silly little things that are important to me, but would be irrelevant to other people. I have a cold shower when I wake up in the morning, which is something that I never thought in a million years I could do. I'm a really cold person, but if I can have a cold shower, I can do anything. And so that's how I start my day. And by the time I come to my screen, I can really get into like focus and have an execution mindset in the right kind of way. Now I'm not flawless yet, obviously. But that has been a huge breakthrough for me. All the distractions are gone, and when the distractions come in, that's when I start to mess up. My daughter might come and she'll knock on the door. She'll open the door, and in the past I would have gone, "Hang on, I'm just watching something. I've got to try and do a trade," and that'll be when I mess up. Whereas now, if that happens, I go, "Okay, that's it." I close the lid and I go out and I play with it. I go to the park or whatever, and then I'll come back later, open my laptop and review where I was, and just make sure I can sort of put that to bed.
Because you did move from 5 minute to 1 minute chart trading, which I mean I've done for 1 minute, been up to five. I've been all over the timeframes, and I know how difficult 1 minute can be, especially with the, what you're talking about, the pace of how things move. I mean, did you notice the distractions more impactful when you're on 1 minute versus five, or did it not really make any difference?
It was a surprising breakthrough for me, actually, because I've like you, I've gone 5 minute, 1 minute, 15 minute, trying to find what works for me. And like the 5 minute, it kind of makes sense because it's quite fast, but it's not so fast that you can't keep up. Whereas I think I had a couple of things happen at the same time where the information overload thing started to become like I was maybe starting to drive the car more effectively and more intuitively. And so 5 minutes actually was giving me too much time to think. And I was in my own head thinking like, okay, well, I know I've got a new candle, right? I've got to wait till the end of this candle before I can really make a decision on anything. And 5 minutes is a really long time in your own head. And if you're really focused on watching the candles and like in the flow on the chart, it's too long to be sitting there staring at it. So for me, the 1 minute now seems to be perfect for me. And like even 1 minute sometimes now, waiting for a 1 minute candle, I can see myself like like most people, we're addicted to our phones. I can see myself thinking, "Oh, should I just check my phone? Should I just check my email while I'm waiting?" And then I'm like, "What's happened?" Like, there's a distraction coming in, and that's so for me. I kind of need that fast chart, and it's also giving me an opportunity with the short amount of time I get, a couple of hours. It's giving me more opportunities to practice in a real way rather than back testing, which I still do, but it's not real, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, especially on a 1 minute, because it is fast. And I mean, I kind of know what you mean around the 5, because halfway through a 5 minute candle, it's a different candle than what it's going to end up as, and in a way that's kind of, it doesn't give you a lot of information to do anything on unless you're checking lower timeframes to see what's actually going on underneath. What about patience? Did that play a factor?
yeah, so I think this all ties into patience as well, because I think I am quite patient, and I'm patient in that I know this journey is going to take me a while, and I'm also quite patient with my trades in that sometimes you just have to wait for the right setup. But patience is also an incredibly difficult thing as a virtue, and even though I think I'm quite patient, I still have to kind of force myself to be patient sometimes. And often I was like thinking, I've got to get a trade, because I don't have much time, and I want to be better at this today, sooner. And that is just impatient. And as soon as you start thinking I've got to get a trade, it's game over, and like I should be shutting my laptop. And so I think once I realized that today's trade, or the trade in 5 minutes, or tomorrow's trade, they are not the trade. They are not the trade that makes me a trader. Like, they can wait. It doesn't matter if I miss the next one. It doesn't matter if I don't trade this week. Like, what is going to make me a trader is being patient and executing consistently over time. And so once you kind of realize that you don't have to get every single setup, you don't have to get the next trade, patience kind of fizzles away a little bit, and you just kind of accept that I've got a certain amount of time. I'll do what I can with the time I've got. I'll execute with the information that's in front of me, and in time I'll get there. And my time horizon is far out. And I think probably now my goals I've pushed back, I'll probably achieve them sooner, because I'm accepting that I can be patient with them.
It's interesting, because what Ali's just said here is something you'll listen to and probably go, oh yeah, that would be great if I'll probably do that next time. What we do in this webinar is actually give you a way to get to the point where Ali's at much quicker than you even realize, and you won't even realize it. Isn't that right, JJ?
Oh, absolutely spot on. Yeah, I couldn't have said it better myself. That personal development, there are ways that you can speed it up, and believe it or not, it's not through chart knowledge. You won't find speeding up your journey by accruing more knowledge. There are key fundamentals behind the personal development. Once you know what they are, then you can start to address them. Most traders get on the hamster wheel and they go round and round and round, and they do the same thing over and over and over and over again. The definition of insanity is repeating the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. Albert Einstein, one of my favorite sayings, and it's so applicable to trading. It's right on the money. But unless you see that in yourself, you'll remain upon that hamster wheel, just going around and around and around in circles, chasing yourself up your own backside. And it's just not going to get you anywhere. Your trading journey starts within. So the strategy is only a relatively small part of what a trader needs to actually succeed. And that's where the online world can be very misleading. As I said earlier, you can go onto YouTube, grab this strategy. It's all you need to make 10 grand a month, or they're all over the place. And have a look at the views on them. Hundreds of thousands of views. People actually think they can just go and get a strategy. And, they believe they can just go and get a strategy. And they try it. And then what happens? They hit a brick wall. They realize they're not getting consistent. So they'll go back on YouTube and they'll find another strategy. And they'll try to execute that. And they just don't get to the bottom of the underlying causes. And that's the definition of insanity, especially where trading is concerned.
Yeah, look, folks, I mean, if you want to jump onto this webinar and find out how to get this breakthrough, and funnily enough, the webinar is called Trading Silent Killer, Why You're Stuck and How to Break Through. So if you do want to jump on board, link below the video or on the screen here, go and check it out, register, and we'll be seeing you in the next week. But before we dive in and end this show, Ali, how did your last trading week go? Can you give us a sort of rundown of it from a stats point of view?
I mean, in my world, it was quite a good week. It was about a break-even week, which I know it's got to be better than that, but that's actually quite a good thing for me. It's slightly embarrassing, but so I've had some good winners this week, and I actually feel really quite pleased with the week. And the same for the last few weeks. March has actually been a bit of a breakthrough month for me. But I've got losses in there, and I can attribute most of those losses to the things that we've talked about today: execution errors, and just issues with myself, really. It's positive, and I mean, I can show you some good trades and some bad ones if you'd like to see.
Well, tell you what, why don't you, we'll put some of those up on the screen. So just from a stats point of view, I mean, how many trades did you take? Break even, so that makes sense. How many ones sort of, what was your win rate? So what Ali didn't realize at the time was he actually made massive profit on the last 5 trading days, not break even. He had a 7.95 gain. We're going to go through all of those. This is the gold 1 hour chart, diving into the 1 minute, 1.3 hour trade to end the week with a couple of losses there. One was partial. Then the day before he had a 2 hour win, a 1 hour loss, and another 1.8 hour win. So a good day. That day before, a couple of losses and a 1.6 hour win. So this day here, he had a lot of trades. He ended up with a 3 hour win. He had 3 full losses and a couple of break evens to start off with. So good trade management. And the first day, he made this mammoth 7 hour trade with 1 loss as well. All in all, 7.95. The guy thought he broke even. This is crazy. Let's dive in and hear what JJ's got to say about it all. JJ, 1 minute chart trading, does that seem kind of about right?
It's where I start. It's where, well, no, it's not where I started my trading journey. But when I first started trading, I traded range charts. To be honest, I looked at candlestick charts and they kind of like, whoa, it's like, yeah, that's a bit over my head. It's going to take me a while to get my head wrapped around them. Whereas on a range chart, they're pretty much all the same. So I done what most humans do, took the easy road. And then when I realized that easy road wasn't the road, that's when I got into candlestick charts. And I went down to a 1 minute. For the reasons that Ali have stated earlier on, where it was to do with your attention span, where what I found on 5 minutes and higher time frames, even a 3 minute, it was too much time. It became just too much time. There was too much time to get distracted. Yeah. I knew that you got to get into the zone when you're trading. You got to be totally focused. You've got to be totally focused on your execution. And if your mind is going to wander because it's not doing anything, it's got nothing to do, that's when you're more likely to wander. And I couldn't afford for that to happen. So what I found was, even on 1 minute, I was encountering that. And then that's when I found out about tick charts. And I actually first seriously got to trading on a 34 tick chart, a 34 being a Fibonacci number. So it was a bit quicker, again, not too much, but it just hit the sweet spot for me, where I had to remain focused to keep myself focused. My office door would be shut. no distractions whatsoever. Phone off, dead silence. What I also found was a great benefit from that was it gave me ample opportunity to practice my execution, and that paid dividend. It was only after that that I found consistency with tick charts that I actually decided then to pay a bit more attention to the higher time frames, but to use them in conjunction with the lower time frames. So yeah, I'm a big advocate of what Ali is doing right now. He will definitely speed up his trading journey.
Well, look, folks, thanks for watching this. Look, and if you want more, there is a place to go. So we've got Trading Silent Killer While You're Stuck and How to Break Through, the webinar, very first webinar from the Dynamic Traders Club. JJ and myself will be launching the very first product of Dynamic Traders Club there as well. So if you've been waiting, then now's your chance to sink your teeth into this wealth of knowledge, and it's just the start, folks, as well. So we're going to dive in detail on all of the stuff we talked about here. You're going to learn a ton of stuff in this webinar, so go and check it out, link under the video, or head over to the link on the screen now. And Ali, once again, mate, thanks for coming on, and can't wait to hear the next update, which we might do in like 3 or 4 months' time, and see where you're at there.
Awesome. Yeah, look forward to it.
Excellent.
And JJ,
we'll see you in the
webinar.
See you in the webinar.